The Justice League are dead, and because of that, a power vacuum has been created. Which heroes will rise up, and which villains will take advantage of the current state? How will the DC Universe react during this dark crisis? Justice League Road to Dark Crisis issue number 1 was essentially a one-shot anthology book that provides various views from across the DC landscape about characters' feelings regarding the death of the Justice League. And with loads of writers working on this issue, from JoshuaWilliamson to JeremyAdams to Stephanie Phillips, you get a great blend of emotions from what the characters are feeling. You know, for Dick Grayson, a character who's dealt with death and crises and several other weird comic book moments, his mindset is that of hope and, yeah, like, let's not worry about it, because the heroes tend to always come back. Whereas John is like, dude, how on earth are you not freaking out? When it comes to the Pariah story, a character who I do not care about, we're given his own take on the concept of death and how he deals with it. Philip Kennedy Johnson does a great job of writing Pariah as this desperate man who's haunted by death. You know, it kind of made me view Pariah as this worn-torn vet who never got help for anything of that sort. Wherever he goes, he sees the death of his family. And so because of that, we can understand his reason for serving the Great Darkness, for it's merely out of desperation. And whether it's Wally trying to help friends and family getting their minds off the Justice League, or whether it's villains such as Garfield Linz's Firefly taking advantage of the indisposed team, the writers are able to capture the emotional state of the universe very well, while also setting the stage and various story elements for what's to come, such as the Young Justice tie-in or the visual scene that will happen in the pages of Dark Crisis issue number 1. When it comes to the book's art, you get a nice mix of different art styles that bring their own distinct personality to their respected stories. For example, the Pariah story, drawn by Del Duca, brings a neat horror element, but it also has this style that bleeds seclusion, where you as the reader, you feel alone with Pariah. Whereas the story of Nightwing and John Kent teaming up, the art by Dan Jurgens presents a style that is very comic booky to its core, especially with its action, yet the story's message goes hand to hand with the art's element, having a presentation that manages to pay tribute to the legacies of both Batman and Superman. Now, for my personal preference, the art by Fisco Osticius, with the colors by Sebastian Chang and the Jackson Hyde teaming up with Hal Jordan story, was probably my favorite. To me, that story felt very colorful and a lot more lucid with its tone. But that's just me. You know, I'm sure out of all 5 stories, there's going to be preferred preferences from various readers. Overall, Justice League Road to Dark Crisis issue number 1 was a fine issue that sets up the playing field for the upcoming crisis, while also giving us a meta-commentary on how death is treated within the superhero genre, and how various characters from all corners of the DC Universe view it. Justice League Road to Dark Crisis issue number 1 gets an 8 out of 10. Our story takes place in the majestic city of Gotham, where crime doesn't exist, except for the part where it does, because here we have Nightwing going head-to-head with the villain Brick, and despite Star City being Brick's turf, Brick is taking advantage of the recently deceased Justice League, and with there being no Batman, Gotham is prime real estate. But Dick assures the baddie that just because Batman isn't around, that doesn't mean that there aren't other Dark Knights who are willing to step up to do what's right. But that's when the fight immediately ends, because John Kent comes flying, smashing Brick against the pavement, securing a win for the good guys. Now, Dick is obviously grateful for John's assist, but he also pokes fun a bit, telling John that, you know, he had everything under control, despite the part where he actually did. But John comes off concerned, because from his point of view, he doesn't understand Dick's sense of humor, given the fact that right now, with the current state of the universe, he doesn't understand how he can be making jokes at a time like this. Like, how are you not freaking out? My dad, your adoptive brother, everyone in the league is dead. But again, Dick responds with humor, reminding John that his dad, he died before. Now, with Gotham PD taking care of Brick, Nightwing knows what John needs in a time like this, that being some comfort food. And so while the duo sit and wait around for their food, Dick tells John on what it was like back in the day when Superman first died. And he tells him that Batman wouldn't showcase his worry, because he knew if he did, it might worry everyone else, along with the time when Batman himself died as well, back when Dick Grayson became Batman for a bit. And similar to the Superman, Batman eventually came back to life. Basically, Dick has faith. He has faith that the heroes will return, which is why he's making the Titans Academy a priority. Sure, are the heroes and everyone else scared? Yeah, but in the meantime, the world needs more heroes to step up. However, Dick gets a little bit frustrated when John mentions the Young Justice are erecting statues to honor the fallen heroes, along with a planned vigil, because he feels everyone is just overreacting. Because at the end of the day, the Justice League are going to come back. But it's in this moment where Dick suddenly dwells on the death of his parents and that of Alfred. And so to John's point, there is some validity to it. The uncertainty of their return, the question of what if. From there, a giant explosion occurs, to which we see Kid Amazo and his squad of Amazo prototypes show up to cause some ruckus. However, once the pair begin to suit up for a team-up session, Dick says that, he's sorry about the way that he's acting. He didn't know just how much he was acting like Bruce in the moment. Because the truth being is that Dick is nervous. He is worried, but he's also trying to provide hope to those who don't have it. But maybe the worry can be met halfway. Sure, things are dire, but the overall message in superhero comics in general is you never know what could happen. Sometimes the least you expect it, something amazing happens. But until then, you gotta, do what's right. You gotta step up and carry the legacy. You gotta be a hero. Next, we have WallyWest's Flash in Central City, where Wally, Linda, Ace, and Iris are talking about the current situation. The last time Iris saw Barry, or the death of the Justice League and the Justice League Incarnate. And yeah, basically everyone is pretty scared. Now, being the main hero in the room, Wally is nervous about everyone being scared about the darkness that is to come. And so seeing that everyone is just getting a little bit paralyzed by their fear, Wally decides to suit up and to do what he does best. And with that, he takes Kid Flash along with him. And the two Flashes head out as a way to get their minds clean, away from all the sadness. And while Wally sort of tries to make a game out of it via a game of whack-a-mole, helping to direct traffic, helping old ladies across the street, and fighting supervillains such as Giganta. And upon seeing that, by doing these heroic acts of kindness are helping to lighten the mood, both Flashes continue to do just what they do. Whether it's taking care of the trench in Happy Harbor, fighting monsters in Midway City, or capturing villains like Merlin, the Flashes are cleaning the streets one street at a time. Now, while the two split up to cover more ground, Wally runs to the Flash Museum as a way to pay his respect to Barry and everything that the mantle of Flash represents. And of course, through internal monologuing, we know that Wally is scared. We know that he is unsure of what to make of the situation, but he's not giving up, because as long as there's an Earth to protect, the people will need heroes. And upon getting a call from Jonathan Kent, Flash races off in order to fight back the Cobra organization who are attacking Washington, D.C. Because at the end of the day, the world can always count on heroes. Heroes like Wally West. Our third story has Green Lantern Hal Jordan chasing an alien that appears to be infected with aquatic parasites, which is heading towards Sector 2814, aka Planet Earth. Now, a thing to keep in mind is that Hal's been in space for a while. He hasn't been around of late. Therefore, Hal has no idea that the Justice League are dead. He's got no clue on their current state. And so while in pursuit, Hal begins to radio all the heroes, demanding help with apprehending the creature. Now, sadly, the alien reaches the ocean water, which is a big no-no, because seemingly with parasites affecting it, it's able to harness additional power as a result from the water, thereby its metamorphosis is beginning to enact. And so obviously Hal calls out to Aquaman for the assist, given the fact that Aquaman is, Aquaman. Water is sort of his thing. Now, Hal doesn't get help from Arthur Curry. Instead, he gets it from Jackson Hyde. And fun fact, it would appear that these two heroes have never met before, nor have they ever teamed up for a fight. Thus, there's a first time for everything. And upon hearing the news from Jackson regarding the death of the Justice League, though the news is sad, this news is unable to falter Hal's mindset, because he's intent on saving the day, for his only goal is to save the planet. And luckily, this is where Jackson gets an idea. The idea being to create a gigantic water whirlwind. And with the powers of Jackson and Hal's lantern ring together, the heroes are able to centrifuge and separate the parasites from the actual alien. And with that, they are able to save the ocean water and the alien. And while Jackson stays behind to help the world with the soon-to-be power vacuum that will come with the League's death, Hal Jordan heads out once more into space. But rather, Hal intends to find out on what happened to the Justice League. The next story takes place sometime prior to the death of the League, where within the ruins of Multiverse 2, Alone and wandering about, we have Pariah, slowly going mad as he's just non-stop getting tormented by the visions of his dead wife and the visions of his dead children. It's safe to say that he's depressed. No matter what he does or where he goes, dude just keeps getting tormented. Pariah is also at the mindset that every time he becomes involved with the affairs of Crisis, he causes destruction. And so he is determined to remain where he is and to do nothing. However, the non-stop headbanging visions of his dead family mocking him eventually drive him to attempt suicide. But the Great Darkness makes telepathic contact with him, to where the darkness actually cures his delusions, assuring Pariah that he is actually the only one who can save Multiverse. And thus Pariah agrees to help the Great Darkness as his eyes turn solid black. And thus we have our final story, with the character Nocturna, who had a story arc in Thompson's Suicide Squad, where she became a good person. Remember that? Well, fuck that, because she's attempting to rob a museum within Gotham City. She finds herself unable to go through with it, because there's no challenge without there being Batman. But that's when Stephanie Brown's spoiler shows up, and the two have themselves a battle. And Nocturna, during this, is throwing some harsh shade, telling Steph that, you must feel like crap, knowing that you weren't good enough to die with the real heroes. Heck, you're not even a sidekick. You're a backup at best. However, the two eventually give up and mutually admit that without Batman, Gotham feels different. Now, once Stephanie leaves to answer another call, Nocturna notices Garfield Lynch's Firefly standing on a roof. And so as she goes up to meet with him, Firefly invites her to join the secret society of supervillains. Because apparently, this squad of C-list super baddies have a plan, one that is far greater than Gotham City. And that, folks, was the end of the Justice League, Road to Dark Crisis, issue number 1. And thank you guys for checking out my video, as it truly means the world to me. And as always, I'm your majestic sayer over at SuperCliff. And if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button. And also hit the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload. And so you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for issue number 1 of Dark Crisis? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace.